You got this.
Dang it, sucks.
Morning, Alicia.
I was 30 minutes long on this, so.
She might not be awake yet.
I know I'm not.
You know how that goes.
I think Brandon's trying to.
Go get ready. Do you have a computer, Brandon? I'll throw on that. Get ready.
That's really.
Um,
Yeah, okay. Oh, right. I got it. Yeah, anyone else ready for math yet? Anyone's ready for math? Yep. There's a little space in between there that messes it up too. Ooh, sorry. For those of you who were not here yesterday, remember over here that your slip that tells you what you missed. Over here, we have the test is all graded and all put in the grade book and everything. So after class, you can go by and check it out. It's also in Power School. And I'll have an extra credit opportunity for that probably tomorrow, or if we have time at the end of class, I'll throw it in there too.
Is it just any random?
Once you're done with the roll call question, you can go ahead and put your computer, or at least close it. You don't have to put it away yet.
Is it about this, like any random compromise or this?
Any compromise that you've had in your life, think about time that you have compromised. If you roll that, run that around.
2% off my grade.
Alrighty, got it. D. Okay, alright.
Let me see.
Didn't say that, we're trying to. You got your roll map? Someone's missing their world map. I got extra copies up here if you need it. You can at least fill out China so that you can take it back to your other world map that you might have left at home or in your locker or elsewhere. Right, yeah. Oldest trick in book. You need a colored pencil?
she's like me with her pen.
Yep. There's also a blank spot there. I'm not touching it, so.
No, that's all that we need our Chromebooks for, right?
For now, you will need it a little bit later, but don't have to worry about it quite yet. And then get out the notes that you've been taking. We're gonna start a new batch of notes for the Cold War since we're starting that new unit today. Should whichever one works best for you. But don't throw away the Russian Revolution ones, because we might look back on it here and there.
That's annoying.
Anyone else need the world map yet? Do you need China?
Yep.
It's that one right there. So we'll see it to the this that's a blank spot there. See a little blank spot there. It's Mongolia.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, who else needs the world map? Everyone's okay? I haven't shown it to everyone, so we're sure. Anyone wants to get the road map, roll call questions, get out some notes. See, most people are getting finished. So today, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be talking about the United Nations. So we'll be talking about the first step of the Cold War, the creation of this group of nations. So, first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to give you all a flag of a country. Eventually, you're going to act out as if you are one of these countries in a little activity that we're going to do. Okay? So, I'm going to pass these around real quick. I'm going to get you to pass the marker. Just for that'll make you a powerful country. Make you China.
Make me the U.S. I have a special request.
You want the United States? Okay. I'll give you the U.S.
So Americans.
I want Zimbabwe.
Germany.
Not one of the options.
It's either Russia.
Germany, I want.
I don't know. Russia's pretty awesome. They fight bears for a living.
In the bottom corner, it'll say the name of the country.
I'm American, so I need the U.S.
Ooh, battleship.
I think Australia's already been given
Either
that.
that or France.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Germany's also already been given that.
Russia fights bears for a living.
Okay. Anyone not get one?
Yeah, United Kingdom has bad teeth. Russia fights bears. France just eats bread.
Okay, everyone ready for notes?
We're just Americans. She got it. Love Trump.
So look up here, find your country, and then write on the back whether it's capitalist, socialist, or communist.
Can you remind me what those mean again?
What?
Can you remind me what those mean again?
So capitalist is the private companies, private control of all industries.
Basically, we all own.
What we are in the United States?
We all own separate things. Right?
Yeah, private property. Socialist, it's that mutual ownership, that social ownership aspect of a group of people all owning industries. And then communism is that thing where we did with the grade book, where it's like 90%, down to 60%, 40%, 10%. Everyone works together. There's no government, no religion, no private property. Everything is everything.
I think this is right.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Just, if
You are
it's not on
capitalist.
communist and socialist,
Yeah.
capitalist.
There you go. Okay, so the United Nations. Oh,
Oh, did you give Alicia a country?
Alicia, you are going to be Brazil.
Brazil.
Okay? You're this
Why
one.
did I think of Europe?
Who wants to be for Brazil?
Got it? Okay. So you're gonna be capitalist.
Who wants to be any other country than the United States?
I'd like to be Russia.
Okay, so the United Nations. Remember last class? 2 classes ago, I guess, we ended at the end of World War II. Okay? All these countries, they're trying to figure out what in the world happens next. How do we stop World War III from starting just a few years later? So, the way that they decided first to do it is they need to join together. The way that they're going to do that is by creating a group called the United Nations. Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else in conferences? Okay. So the United Nations has almost every single country in the world represented. They send one representative all together to one place, and they decide what they're going to do as a nation. Remember that conference, the Yalta Conference, where those 3 world powers, eyes up here, eyes up here. Those 3 world powers decided the fate of the entire world. Now 3 world powers are going to do that. All the countries in the United Nations are going to do that. So their mission is to prevent future world wars from happening. So write that down. That is their mission, to prevent future world wars from happening. So it was made in 1945. Anyone remember the significance of that year?
End of World War II.
End of World War II. So they get right on it. Right from the very start, they are going to join together. And in the United Nations, they pass what's called resolutions. So resolutions, R-E-S-O-L-U-T-I-O-N-S. It's basically like laws, but they aren't really bound by it. So we're bound by a law, like we have to drive on a certain side of the road, and if we don't do that, then we can get a ticket, and
Or die.
or possibly die. That's true, yeah. So we're bound by that law. Resolutions, it's more this is how we feel, or this is what you should do, or this is what you should stop doing. So all these nations are going to vote on whether or not the United States should be persecuting this group of people, or how China should be persecuting a group of people. There's been times where there have been like fightings all around the world, like wars that start or genocides that start, and so the United Nations will condemn those actions. They'll say, we, the United Nations, condemn this country for having this genocide. Okay? So, inside this group, there's something called the Security Council. This is the only slide you'll have to write on today, if that makes you feel any better. Okay? So there's 193 countries in the United Nations. Almost every single nation in the world is in the United Nations. Tito? Hello? And they all work together to prevent war, preserve peace, advance human rights. But there's 5 nations that stand out above the rest. So all 193 nations, they're going to work together to prevent this war, and these 5 nations, they get what's called veto power.
Do you have a piece of paper?
Here, I've got one.
So they have the power to say, nope, we're not passing that resolution. These 5 nations are some of the most powerful in the world. Okay, the nations are, and I'm going to have you raise your hand if you're this nation, the United States, woo, proudly over there, United Kingdom, France, Russia, and China.
Those
Over here,
comments get
okay?
thrown in.
So those 5 nations, those 5 people, Skylar, Dylan, Dane, Tito, and Dalton, you all have the power to say, nope, we're not passing that. So even if every other country in the world, they say, yes, we're going to pass this. Maybe even you 4 over there, you say, yes, we're going to pass this. But China says no. Doesn't pass. Because this one country has that power. Okay, so you can see how those 5 countries, they are super, super powerful in the United Nations. They can decide anything they want. Basically, all other countries kind of have to bow down to that a little bit. Okay? Well, at the time, it wasn't communist China. So
At the
we'll
time,
talk a
it was
little
in
bit
a-
later
at the
about
time, it was
the
in a civil war.
change of communism. That is a fair point as well.
Why would you do that?
We'll talk about the change that China goes through, and I think now there's a lot of people that kind of regret putting them on the Security Council. And at the time, Russia was the Soviet Union, so one of those big three. Why isn't Germany on the Security Council?
They got split in twain.
They got split into two at this time, so it's East and West because of that Iron Curtain we talked about.
Also, no one wanted to deal with their crap again.
Okay. What were they dealing with before? Someone other than Dane over here. Yes, Athena.
They dealt with the Nazi people.
Yes, the Nazis in World War II. So we weren't very big fans of Germany at this time, so we decided not to put them on the Security Council. There are 10 countries, though, chosen at random every 2 years, who serve on the Security Council. So you got your main 5, they're always on the Security Council. You got 10 other ones that are sometimes on the Security Council for 10 years. So that gives all the other countries of the world at least a chance to have a voice. Because if you'll notice, there's some continents that aren't even represented on the Security Council. Anyone name any of those continents that aren't represented?
I was gonna
Antarctica,
say that.
okay. I don't think they have a government, but they aren't represented.
Penguins.
What?
Nothing. I'm talking about penguins, but
What other continent?
Africa.
Africa's not represented.
wait. Oh,
They often get the temporary.
is
Security Council.
Australia?
Australia's not represented.
Australia is represented by the
There's one more.
Europe.
No, Europe is on there.
Right.
So we got the United Kingdom, we got France.
Yeah.
South America's not represented. Okay.
Basically, the people that aren't employed.
So we've got North America in the United States, we got Europe, United Kingdom and France, we've got Asia and Russia and China, but those other 3 continents aren't. So that's why they give them that temporary status so that they have some sort of voice. They're part of the world as well, so they should have some voice. Okay. Everyone got that written down? Or are you still working on it? Still working. Okay. So, what we're going to do for the rest of class is we're going to act like the United Nations. So you all have your card there. You all know whether you're capitalist, socialist, or communist. I'm going to give you some fake resolutions that the United Nations might pass. And so you, as your economic system, you're going to decide whether you want to pass it or not pass it. Okay? Everyone understand what we're doing? Okay.
You might have them write their country in the note, because.
That's like an example for later. Okay. Yeah, write down your country in your notes, whatever country you have, so that way you have an example for later. That way you can remember whether you're communist, socialist, or capitalist, and how they might vote. Does anyone need a reminder about what capitalism, communism, socialism is, or was the one earlier from Dalton good enough? Need a little bit of a reminder? Okay. So, a socialist country, social ownership. So that cooperative group of people, that collective group of people, they're in charge of an industry. Instead of one person, the Jeff Bezos of the world is in charge of Amazon, instead it would be like 10 people or the entire group in charge of it, okay? And then communism would be like if the workers and the CEOs of the country, or of the company, they were in charge of Amazon. So everyone's in charge of Amazon now. And in capitalism, it's that one person who's in charge of Amazon. Okay? So capitalism, private ownership, one person owns something. You own your property, you own your company. Socialism, there's a group of people. Communism, everybody owns everything. Okay? Okay. So, what we're going to do after that is you'll have your chance to make your own resolutions and you're all going to vote on it as well. So, I will help you with ideas for that so that you're not like, I have no idea what to do. I'll give you some options of what you can talk about. Okay, still need a little bit more time? Okay, that's fine. So, who who are the communists in here? Raise your hand. Okay, so you two are going to be working together. Okay, who are the socialists in here? Okay, we've got, okay, we've got 2 socialists there. I was going to say, I thought I just had 2 of them. And then capitalists, raise your hand. Overwhelming majority of people are capitalist. Okay. So, be looking at people across the room who you know are together with you and kind of work together to decide whether you're going to vote yes or no. Okay? Because of COVID, you can't be paired up like I would want you to be, but we'll work around that. It's okay. The other socialist is Kayla, right?
It's on the board.
Okay.
I didn't even know it was.
Well, he's not sure which country, who had which country.
I
He knows
was
which
just
country.
guessing it was capitalist. I didn't know it was on the board. Like earlier.
Okay, we're gonna scoot forward then. Okay, so I'm gonna read a resolution. You're gonna say yay or nay. Okay, so I'll give you a second to think about it. Then I'll have you raise your hand. Yay, which means yes, we're gonna pass it. Or nay, we don't want to pass it. Okay? So, first resolution is that the United Nations condemns the persecution of Muslims in the People's Republic of China. Okay? So in this situation, China is persecuting, they are stopping Muslims from having their rights, so they are going to condemn this. So there's a group of you who doesn't have religion in your economic system, right? So you all might choose to vote against this, because you're okay with persecution of religion in this economic system. We're good? Okay. So, those voting yay, raise your hand. Yes, we're saying we don't support this persecution. We don't support this persecution. That's saying yay. All right.
Of Muslims.
Like you vote to condemn.
Yes, we are not supporting the persecution of Muslims.
Oh.
There we go. Okay.
Which means
All right.
we don't want them to get rid of.
Yes. Yes. Then put your hands down. Those voting no, we don't condemn the persecution of Muslims. Okay, what economic system are you? Communist. Communist, okay. Why would the communists not want to condemn the persecution of Muslims? Okay, good point. We were going to get to that in a second.
Because they don't have religion.
Yes, communists don't have religion. In a truly communist society, there is no religion, so they wouldn't want to condemn that. They don't really want religion in communism. It goes against what they believe, okay? As Kayla pointed out, one of them is China. Why would China condemn themselves? They don't want to say, no, we don't support what we're doing. So China's going to vote against it, okay? So you saw how many hands raised over there, right? So does this resolution pass or not?
Yes.
It passes?
No.
Who said
No.
no? Why wouldn't it?
China went against it.
China has veto power. So it doesn't
China?
pass. Okay, so all of those people, you all went, yeah, we want to pass this resolution.
No.
One country just decided no,
Don't make some shoes.
and then it doesn't pass. Okay, so that's how powerful this one country can be
Plastic.
in this situation, okay? Next resolution. The United Nations condemns the practice of private home ownership in Nicaragua. So those who are voting for this are saying, we don't like the idea of having private property. Okay, so you don't like the idea.
I do like
Do
that.
not like the idea of owning private property if you vote for it. If you vote against it,
Which
then it's saying
means you
we-
like private property.
that's who, if you're voting against it, okay? If you vote against it, you like private property. If you vote for it, you don't like private property. Everyone got that?
Where is neat? That was night or I don't know how to say it. What's that? What's that word? That
Nicaragua.
Nicaragua,
Yeah.
it's a country.
Where are we?
I don't know why I can say that.
Pointing to it over there.
Somewhere down there.
Yeah, it's,
Central America. Close.
why can't I find it on the map right
I
now?
got it.
Nicaragua.
I'm literally,
That's Nicaragua
I was
right there.
literally
Nicaragua.
hovering right over it.
Honduras?
Central America. Okay, so those
First hour.
voting for the resolution, saying no, we don't like private property, raise your hand.
We don't like.
You're gonna raise your hand, okay? You want to?
Hey, can you
Yeah,
repeat that?
okay. Alright, your hands down, those voting in favor of private property.
I love my private
Yes, we're doing well, yes, that is correct,
Nobody can-
yes.
Nothing
Except
done.
me.
Okay. So capitalists, why would you want to condemn, or why would you not want to condemn this practice?
Because we're capitalists and we like private property.
Yes, correct, okay? Socialists, why would you vote to condemn this practice? Not sure, okay? Marion?
Huh?
Why would you vote to condemn the practice of private home ownership? You can phone a friend if you need.
Because you all like own stuff as a group.
All, yes, all starting to go away from that private home ownership. There's a little bit of that in socialism, but not as much as in capitalism, okay? So that's why you could be a little iffy on that. Okay, communists, why would you vote to condemn this practice?
They just don't like getting it.
Collective ownership.
Collective ownership, complete collective ownership of everything. Everyone owns everything. Okay. Finally, the United Nations condemns the collectivization of farms in the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics. Actually, wait, before we get to that, let's go back to this for a second. Did this pass?
No.
Why didn't it pass?
Because we like private property.
We disagree.
Because
disagree.
what, Marion?
Russia and China, or
Just China. Just China said no. That's enough to not make it pass.
That's so dumb.
What
What are all the other countries?
Yes, you
What
should
are all
be
the other
excited.
countries for then? If China can overrule everyone else.
We will get to that in a little
I
bit.
think it should
They
be
just need to
majority.
make everybody's clothing and everything
Somebody
more
Okay.
good.
Can what are like the 5 countries like cancel out a veto of another country?
No.
There
They
is a
win
situation that we will talk about in the future that answers your question.
Yep.
So, I'm being mysterious, but
If all the other countries wanted to kick China out of the United Nations, could they do that? Cause they don't belong.
Well,
It makes more
it's
different
possible, but at the same time, you have to remember how powerful China
Those are
is.
Bangladesh.
How does anything get done?
They make
It
no
doesn't.
sense. It doesn't get done.
Shoes are in Bangladesh, clothes and plastic is in China.
Yes.
I have an idea. You let one more world war happen, everybody against China.
Oh my
Let's
gosh,
go.
Jalen.
I don't think you
Let's
want
do
World
not
War.
support
Well,
World War
that's
discussion
exactly
on the
right.
record.
I'm
We
just
are not supporting that. We are condemning the act.
That's why they don't want World War.
Okay. Third resolution, the United Nations condemns the collectivization of farms in the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics. Think about it, collectivization, remember that's that mutual ownership of all of those farms that happened under Joseph Stalin. Okay, so if you're condemning that, you're saying, no, we should not collectivize our farms, we shouldn't have mutual ownership of it all. And if you are voting against this resolution, you're saying, yay, collectivization of farms. Okay, you got it? Okay, alright. So, raise your hand if you're voting in favor. You are condemning this practice, saying no to this.
Oh, we're saying no.
Alicia, are you saying no to this one or yes to this one?
You say no. No.
Oh,
Is this yes or no?
I can't hear you, hold on.
We don't like collective
Type in the chat.
so we're going for this.
Okay, we'll see what she says. Okay, so overwhelmingly capitalist people, okay? You're also condemning that? Okay, alright.
China's gonna come in and overrule.
And then
Screw you, China.
those against the resolution, communists,
That's all
communists.
that
Okay,
So we didn't pass a single.
Did you
vote in
vote
this class.
for and against it, Barry?
No,
Is
we
that what it
didn't.
says?
Yeah, we did
No.
trespass.
Just for it. Okay,
That's classic.
so capitalists, why would you vote in favor of this?
I mean, private property.
China voted against that.
And
Why would you condemn the collectivization?
We don't have
Because we believe in
collective
private
use.
property.
No,
Well,
because
why would you
China
say that?
voted no.
What?
Why did you condemn the practice of collectivization?
Oh, no.
So we believe in private property.
Listen to Jalen, you'll find out. Jalen, say it again.
We believe in owning private property.
Yes, okay, private
Yeah.
property, we don't want mutual ownership of the farms, okay?
Yeah, I believe in-
Socialists,
I believe in-
I want you to explain yourselves, why did you condemn collectivization of farms?
That's when I gave it too far, because we like to have social ownership, so that it's a whole group of people and not just everybody owns one thing.
Okay, I'll actually accept that answer. I would say it could be iffy on that one. Socialists
It could be
might
the United
condemn it, they
Nations.
might vote for it. It just depends, because remember we talked about how socialists,
Probably started World War.
always in the bag. Socialists, sometimes their goal is to eventually get to communism, and socialists sometimes is to stay in socialism. So if you're wanting to eventually get to the point of communism, you're probably not gonna condemn this. But if you're wanting to stay socialist, you probably will condemn this. Does that make sense?
Sure.
So it could be iffy. Okay, so does everyone understand that process so far?
Yeah.
Did it pass?
No.
No, why not?
Hey,
It's
stupid
freaking
China.
China. Okay.
There you go.
So sometimes things do actually pass. Okay, China's not always the bad guy in this situation. If they are persecuting a group of people, sometimes China will say, no, we should not keep persecuting these people. Okay, but you can see how sometimes China, sometimes Russia, sometimes the other three countries as well might block something from happening and getting passed. And Dalton over there, what country are you?
Italy.
Italy was getting so mad earlier because nothing was getting passed. You can see how it would frustrate a lot of countries.
What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Eat your pasta and cry?
Okay, now think about United States and the Soviet Union during this time. Already weren't big fans of each other, okay? How would this play a role in them going forward? Would it upset them more, or would it be all fine and dandy? Upset them more, Dylan's right, okay? It's gonna upset them more because if Russia, or if Soviet Union is voting against something and the United States is voting for something, they're just gonna keep going back and forth. Well, you see a lot of times, the United States, they'll vote to pass something, and so then the Soviet Union will come back and vote against it just because the United States is for it. And so they'll just keep going back and forth during this entire time of the Cold War, which lasted until, anyone remember what year?
1990.
1742.
1991, 1992, somewhere in that range.
Damn.
Kind of
Finally got
disputed.
something wrong.
That was really
So, from 1945 all to that time, they would often
That's the
vote
only
against it,
That's the only thing he'll get wrong.
just because the other team was voting for it.
Semester.
Okay, so what we're gonna do for the rest of class time?
nothing.
Nice
Free
try.
time.
Actually, I'm not.
You're gonna make your own resolution.
In one paragraph, those are like one sentence.
No. Hold on, you gotta end yourself just a second, okay? Your resolution is going to be 1 to 2 sentences long. Okay, just like that was on the board, 1 sentence, maybe 2 sentences if you need a little bit more. The paragraph is gonna be your explanation of how your country would vote for or against it. Okay? So if you're a socialist country, you're gonna explain why you voted for or against the policy.
You have to be economic.
If I
It
would've
doesn't have to
read-
be economic, it could be a political thing too. I'm fine with that. You can feel comfortable with that. Okay, so get out your computers. Okay. Think about those key aspects of socialism, communism, capitalism that we talked about. You can look back in your notes from before.
That you use one of these examples.
No, you cannot use one of these examples. You cannot use one of these examples. What? Yes, you can write it out on paper if that's better for you. Yeah.
You're on like a blank doc.
Yeah, just a blank document, yep. Okay, so if you want to talk about persecution of religion, remember communists, they have no religion in their country. True communists don't, at least. Talk about private home ownership.
Should it be current affair based or can it be theological?
It can be
Theoretical.
anything that you want. It can be real, it can be fake, whatever you want, just as long as you're showing that you understand the idea behind it all. Like that one with Nicaragua earlier probably wouldn't actually happen in real life. Probably not gonna be condemning private home ownership.
Well, wait, so it has to be realistic?
Nope, can be anything you want.
But, I mean, like, it should be ridiculous.
Right.
United Nations should conquer the moon.
Yes, not like that, or banning unicorns in their country or something like that. Something that could actually happen.
So like creating chocolate?
Yeah, I would allow that. I don't know how you would,
Condemn the dating of chocolate.
it's just whether or not you can explain why your country would vote for or against it.
What about stopping France from making baguettes?
You can explain why the United States would vote for or against it.
Food poisoning.
We like our baguettes.
Send one country to the void at random.
I'm gonna debate you on this, cause that's what they're gonna have. So be prepared, if that's what you're choosing, you have to go up against me on it.
What is your argument?
Well, I don't know what your argument is, so I can't
Baguettes
respond
cause
to
food
it.
poisoning. They
Bread
cost
is
too
one
much.
of- The bread is one of the least
That's the
known
point.
causes of food poisoning.
That's the point, but baguettes are not bread.
No,
It's
Yes, they are.
I know. It pops up because you don't
You
expect it.
cannot
Do
live
more
without
typing.
bread.
Try it, let
Less
me know.
debating with that.
You can live without
She
that.
said she was. I need to be ready for debate.
Pasta's better
If,
than bread.
I said if that's what you choose,
Pasta is.
you have to be ready to,
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of
Find
one.
some, the notes that you have on comments and socialism and activism. That's really good. Make sure it's clear. So, two more sentences. Specifically, South Africa, why would you vote for this? So you've explained how all
Yo,
these
dog.
other countries would explain it. How would South Africa do it?
Say yo, dog.
I'm Mr. North India.
Oh, I forgot your name.
I'll write it on the board.
We got you.
Yep. Perfect.
More, less of a question, more of a statement, like, we will condemn,
No.
we will get rid of the,
Okay. That's more interesting.
just be fast, please.
Maybe. Get rid of.
Not should, it's just, we will. It's a statement. Okay, focus more on a statement, not, should we do this? It's, we do this, we condemn this act. Or we approve of this act.
Trump should be president again.
Yeah. Yeah.
I approve of that act.
Or if you're Russian, you might just.
Putin, freaking Putin.
They're here somewhere.
Fake
Uh,
dummy.
Putin is awesome.
Oh.
Fights bears for a living.
Do you have a question, Will?
Nothing.
Okay.
Talking about bears.
Turn it into, oh, there's not,
Travis. Travis.
let me get the link up on Google Classroom.
There should be funds going to agriculture farming.
Huh?
The funds for agriculture.
United
Yeah.
States.
It's Biden. Erase those or whatever you call it. Stop the funds.
Maybe if one country is
I
taking
mean,
it,
what's the-
not a person.
No.
I don't think he really.
They do. You know what, Mr. Moore has veto power in that situation.
Oh,
Nice try though.
Yeah, dog.
should be
Fancy
posted
word for
now.
continue.
It's due tomorrow.
Here, Abby, can you scoot up just a little? We'll look out for
It's due tomorrow?
Yes, it's a paragraph, so
paragraph.
5 sentences. You can do it.
It's
Raise
one
competence.
day to write 2
You got it.
sentences.
I actually have an idea. Mr. Moore.
Okay.
You wonder why none of my sentences through.
Dang it. I'm grounded from parties for like the rest of my life. At least on my team. This is it, some bad stuff going on.
Do you want, just decide, do you wanna vote for it against?
I don't know, when I'm 16, that's my
Do you wanna vote for it?
What's it, 15 days?
Both equally.
Okay, so,
There's a what?
social common ownership by citizens. Okay, because some companies, they would have.
Mr. Moore?
I've got any drug tests out of it too.
Mr. Moore?
Has to be with socialism, so your country.
Don't
Pro
know.
social.
Yes, it'll be 2 sentences.
I got a question.
Okay, so think about
It has to be 2 sentences?
Yes.
Basically, we have some capitalism.
You don't remember?
which is private ownership, so.
Never mind, it's 1 or 2 sentences.
But they wanna own, you would own by 15%, so if you choose to private socialism, you would own it by yourself. Does that make sense? Okay. Okay, so we're a
What?
company, 3 of us are a company.
That's
We are
okay.
Walmart.
What we decided to do
So in this case,
for the modification is we're gonna
capitalism, I
write a
own
resolution
Walmart.
for him,
Okay,
and
you are
he
my
needs to
workers.
justify
I
it,
own
That's mine.
Okay,
and I'm gonna write the
so that's
resolution.
capitalism, one person owns
So,
capitalism.
I'm gonna go do that
Capitalism,
right
one
now,
person owns it.
but if you wanna
Okay.
look a little bit at
And
Egypt
socialism,
water rights,
we're now
for like
listed
dam
as we own it
building in
together.
Egypt,
She hurt
Yeah, she's our worker.
dam
the United
building,
States doing that.
cause they built a
Okay,
dam
so it's a group of people
in
with
Egypt that was
workers.
very
That
controversial.
helps a lot of arms keep going.
Communism.
So I think that would be
Workers.
the easiest thing for him to get
Hey,
access to.
Tell me.
Oh, here you go.
No, that's not.
In
How you
Egypt.
log in?
I forgot the name of it.
So capitalism, one, socialism,
Sign out.
communism.
Oh.
I'll be back.
Never mind.
Yeah, that dam is, that's what I'm thinking about.
Okay, what you got?
Here,
Got it? Okay,
I'm not
keep it up,
finished.
keep it up, because,
Yeah, 2 minutes.
how much?
Yeah, 35.
It's not tough to today.
No, but yeah.
Oh, it's on Tuesday. It feels like a
So it's
Tuesday.
40, right? 42?
Thursday?
Yeah, it's Thursday, it's 40.
Yeah, it feels like a Tuesday.
Just 'cause I'm fine.
Okay, so,
Dang it.
Kinda feels like Sunday.
So, you wanna approve or just?
God dang it. That'd be a good thing. You know those?
Okay,
Those,
do you want to show him that article and, actually, why don't, do you wanna go across the hall and read the article to him? Or can you email him that article that you read,
We approve of Venezuela.
You know what the soldier made out of?
so that he has it?
Sole ownership.
Email him the link to the article.
Makes sense.
We approve of private.
I need to watch it there.
That could also be that simply, we approve of private.
That's what I can put.
You could-
No, I'm listening.
Okay, so you have social ownership, so.
Just watch the bell ring.
Okay, so social ownership, you're all working with
Weedy
it.
man.
Okay, so maybe you approve of that conversation.
Alright.
On this farm stand. And you approve of it, okay?
Um,
Does that make sense?
What
So
is
you
work?
have, like, 40 people on the company, you approve of it.
Or should I use more fancier words?
So we approve of groups of people
Make a lot of
in
it.
companies in.
Okay, so I'm gonna give you a few things. It needs to be kind of like a complete sentence,
Why
so
would you approve?
the UN resolves is usually how it starts.
Or condemn.
What's
Uh-huh.
the term, what's the term, social?
Okay, but is that like a good start, I guess?
So, because I know you care about this, I want you to think about this before it, because Is it just for the United States or the whole world?
Bring out my notes on capitalism, socialism, yes.
The whole world.
Does that change how you think about it?
A little bit.
Just give me a second to walk around.
Can it just be for the United States?
No.
Dang.
All right, here in a couple minutes, we'll take a couple minutes to vote on some of our finished resolutions. If you aren't done with it, don't worry, don't panic, no big deal.
I have a thing to note that I think might be important.
Okay.
Remember that these resolutions apply to the whole world, not just your country.
As united countries together. Right. All right, that's good.
Tito, what's yours?
Okay.
Give me the example.
Where Japan is their capitalist,
Yes.
right?
Here.
So you
Alright.
private ownership, okay. Remember what private ownership is?
Oh.
I think we should get rid of the veto.
Yep, okay.
So,
On
So
some
you wanna
terms
approve or
of-
disapprove of the resolution? Do you wanna say yes or no? No? Okay. So, you would say
Oh, Mr. Hill,
we condemn.
I decided to print the article. I decided to print the article. Would you run across the hall and grab it for Brandon?
Why would you vote against that? Why would you vote for that, sorry? Yes.
Oh,
why would
I'm,
you-
I'm printing the article for Brandon, so he can take it from
I
them.
thought he was going to.
And can you grab it across the hall?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, there's
She
just
said, we believe in private ownership. Oh, there is? Yeah. Okay. Sure. Gonna condemn any country that has collective. Okay? So that's just an idea to go off of.
I gave you the finger? This finger?
Just as long as you can explain in your own words why you would or would not.
Oh. I don't get it. Now I feel old.
Yes.
I appreciate it. No, you're fine. I'm not really hurt. I've come to terms with the fact
Well, you
that
don't have to explain other countries
I work with people.
how they would, you wouldn't have
Well,
to.
I don't-
Yeah.
With what?
You just have to explain your intention, so just explain your country, why you would for it, yep. You can if you want to get to that 5 sentence mark with other countries, but.
Okay, so you can do a little bit of research if you need to, but what's your resolution?
I think that you're doing a little too
Okay.
much there. If you just said
So,
that, then boom, cut it off there.
what do
You
they
don't
have
to
now?
And that. So I think that just makes it more difficult.
What are they?
Oh.
What are they?
No, that's right.
Uh-huh.
You didn't write your name up on the board, so I don't know.
All right.
I'll write it. Yeah, dog.
Yeah, dog.
No, Mr. Moore.
Fair enough.
And you two with your noses.
Can't breathe.
Hard, it's max.
Would you like a different mask?
No.
You mean no mask? Yes. I do. That was Dalton. That was Dalton East.
That is actually a very detailed kid, Leslie. She said, you've been in this class for longer than I have, because she was remote for all that time. You got it?
Okay.
I'm gonna vote on it then.
What would happen if it changed?
Okay.
Or what about the
Dude,
rest of it?
Skylar's probably gonna beat the record in the bathroom.
I think he's probably gonna have to lose
I
his
will-
bathroom privileges.
He's only got 2 minutes.
Okay, we're gonna take a second. You can keep typing out your resolution if you are still working on it.
How long?
But we're gonna start with Jalen's resolution, okay? So we're gonna vote for or against it, as our countries. So Jalen, what is your resolution that you chose?
Condemning that North Korea killing anybody suspecting of it.
A little bit louder?
Condemning that North Korea killing anyone suspecting.
Okay.
No
So
nukes
they're
in the US.
condemning the practice of killing killing people practicing religion in North Korea. North Korea over here. Okay?
Yeah, get out of here, North
So,
Korea.
who condemns it? Who says, no, we should not be doing that?
I didn't even hear what she said, so.
Okay,
I think we're in.
condemning the practice of killing, what was the term, religious people? Yeah, religious people in North Korea.
I think
Yeah,
everybody-
get out of here.
Okay.
China,
Okay,
North
and you're not
Korea,
voting for it?
big dummy.
Okay, alright, okay, cool, alright. So you all did that, you're gonna vote against it? North Korea is the only country who votes against it, does it pass? Why would it not pass?
Dane didn't raise his hand.
No, he raised his hands with the rest of you.
His hand is not up.
No, China voted for it.
Wait,
So China voted for it,
so it's.
he's condemning the practice.
So no matter what China votes, it goes that way.
No,
You
no,
haven't
no,
figured it out.
not necessarily,
Huh?
but it doesn't pass.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, because now all those people with the veto power, they all voted together on it. So it passes. We passed something. Yay! Perfect timing. So prove that China.
Hey, Skylar ruined. Skylar
There was an error on my computer, so I know what happened, and I just need a second to fix it.
I'll come back down.
Yeah.